see anything, but it looks like it's probably coming. Look, okay, check your encoder. Keyframe interval recommended 3. Okay, so let me see if I can do that. Keyframe, its thing is a little bit. Keyframe 3 seconds. Okay, 3,000 kilobytes. Okay, this thing is pretty. I hope this is working. All right. Oh, recommended 2. Okay, well, let me change that. All right, edit. Let's take a look. 2. Some little technical difficulties, but we're gonna get there. All right, so today we're going to be talking about wholesaling real estate. What is wholesaling real estate? Wholesaling real estate is basically, in a nutshell, you're going to be buying a property that's, you're going to be looking for a property that's off market, that's extremely discounted. And the people that we're going to be looking for that are looking to sell their property are not going to be, how can I say, they're not going to want to sell their property. They actually need to sell their property. Like something's come up in their life where they are in dire need to sell their property. Maybe they have taxes that are due. Maybe there's a family emergency. Something has happened. Sometimes I've noticed that when someone has died and the house is given to the next relative, that relative who owns that property now wants to sell it and turn it into cash as soon as possible before a lien is put on the property by another family member. And that can happen. I mean, things happen so as soon as they get that property, they sell it quick. And I've gotten a lot of properties off market. I mean, up to 60% off. And I'm not even kidding. Like, they are looking for someone with cash to close the deal. Now you're probably thinking, well, Alan, I don't have cash. How am I gonna close this deal down if it's hundreds of thousands of dollars? Well, don't worry about that. We're gonna be explaining that in the class. The link is below. And what I do, well, in essence, what we're gonna be doing is, because the house is such a great deal, we have a lot of creative financing that's available that we call hard money and medium money. And these are basically private lenders. I have about 300 of them here, across the country, that would lend money to you because it's such a great deal. They're like, okay, if you foreclose, I'll keep the property, no big deal. I want to make sure this is actually. Give me a second, because last time I was talking for like 30 minutes and nobody, wasn't even online. So give me a second. I want to make sure that this is going. You can hear me. Oh, it is. Okay, cool. All right, in fact, I'm going to bring this. Let me move this little guy here. Oops. I'm going to move this little guy here so you can hear me a little bit better. I noticed that if I hold the microphone close to me, it sounds a little bit better. Anywho's, okay, so we're going to be looking for people that are in dire need to sell their property now, not for someone that is, just like, oh, I want to sell my house. And because if that's the case, most of the time they're going to get, well, not most of the time, all of the time they're going to get more money. And it's just going to take a little bit more time to sell their property for top dollar. But when we find properties where people want to sell their houses like ASAP, then that's where we can capitalize on that. And we have to write the contract in a way that we can reassign it. So just in case you not familiar with contracts, I already have a contract template already written in the course, so don't worry about it. And as you probably know by now, I'm a real estate broker with 15 years experience, and I train real estate agents every single day and mentor them and coach them. So to know, just to know that you're in good hands. And basically, a reassignment is a disclosure that say, hey, I have the right to reassign this contract to another entity, whether it be a living person or a corporation or an LLC, whatever the case is. And you have X amount of days to do that. And I put a lot of loopholes in the contract. Maybe I'm talking a little bit too fast. For people that don't know about loopholes are basically a way out of the contract just in case things go south or go sour. We need to protect ourselves so that number one, we don't get sued. Number two, we don't lose money. Remember, we're talking about wholesaling property. So in this case, you're going to be the buyer. I'm not talking about, in this case, you're going to be the buyer. So you're going to be saying to yourself, I'm going to buy this property, and I have the right to reassign it. But you, just in case things go sour, we're going to put some clauses in there that allow you to exit out of the exit out of the contract for free. So I already have this contract already written up. So if you need it, it's in the course. I mean, that by itself is well worth the $200. It was $497 the course, and now I'm only charging $200, $197. And the contract itself is just worth its weight in gold, because I've already went through 18 pages or whatever it is to protect yourself, and I have I want to say about 7 loopholes in the contract that allow you to back out absolutely for free, so you won't lose much at all. You may lose $100 if that, and that's what we call the option fee. But as far as the earnest money, you're not going to lose that most likely. 99% of the time, as you follow this contract to the T, you're not going to lose your earnest money. That'd be hard to do, because remember, if they use that earnest money to you and you're in 100% in the right, plus court costs, so that can easily come up to $10,000-$20,000. So it's super interesting. Oh, I got another error here. Keyframe interval 3.4 record. Oh Lord. Anyways, I hope you guys. Oh wait a minute, I do see an error here. Let me just check my encoder. Now I am seeing an error. Broadcast. Okay. Very fast. It says kit. Okay. Well, hopefully this thing is working. Max keyframe, strict CBR. That's why going live is a little tricky, folks. It really is. I really don't know if this thing is even going now. Let me check again. Okay. Very fast. Oh, I guess it is going. Okay. Well, hopefully this thing is working. All right. Well, then I'm going to keep rocking, folks. If you have some errors, you have some questions about wholesale real estate, just let me know in the comments below. Follow the link, because wholesaling real estate is super profitable. I just did a blog this morning about how I kind of stumbled upon wholesaling real estate, because I was I am a realtor. And what happened is I was dating a young lady who had a brother who was a wholesaler. And I was kind of against it, but, I talked with him and he said, yeah, the disclosures, this is like, I don't know, 12 years ago. And he was like, yeah, as long as you disclose it, it's fine. But I knew there was a problem with fiduciary responsibility, because in real estate, we have to put the client first. Because we have a real estate license, Texas state law requires that we put the client in front of ourself, so we have to put the client first. Now, all realtors don't follow those guidelines. That's for sure. That's 100% of it. That's why some of them get in trouble. But as far as me being a broker, I have more weight according to the state. I can get in more trouble. So I was really worried about it. But I talked to the Texas Real Estate Commission. They're like, hey, disclose it, disclose, and cover CYA, cover your ass. That's just 100% true. Cover your ass. And if it's not written down, and then it does not exist. I cannot stress that amount. I can't stress that enough to you guys, as that if it's not written down, it does not exist. So when you're going to buy a piece of property or if business is business, make sure that it's written down. Now, okay, so I can hear some guys already talking about, well, I'm interested in wholesaling real estate. How do I get started? I think the first thing we're going to be doing is about identifying, we talked about what wholesale real estate is. That's the first thing. Second is like identifying a wholesale property, like a potential wholesale property. How do we find one? Of course, it's gonna be a little bit tougher, but it's not impossible. I've done it. I would say the odds or the ratios are maybe about 1 out of 120. So yeah, you're gonna have to do some heavy advertising. But when you're doing this advertising, you got to think like, okay, 1 out of 120. All right, so the signs, we do these little bandit signs. Those are against the law, so I can't say to do that. But if you were to do it, those are $2 each. That's $240. But you're gonna have to do it multiple times a month. So let's say you do it 4 times a month. That's $1,000. And you're gonna do maybe a neighborhood text blast. You may do a neighborhood cold calling campaign. You may do a neighborhood campaign, snail mail. And let's say the snail mail cost you 500. Let's say the text blast cost you another 300. The email blast, we have emails for homeowners already set. And I don't know why I look so light in this thing. But anyways, we already have, so let's say everything cost you $2,000, okay? That $2,000 generates you an easily, I would say we don't make less than $10,000 on wholesale deals. And this is just a wholesale deal in general, not like we're going to be doing a fix and flip. And minimum amount of profit is usually about $10,000. So, okay, you spend $2,000 on generating one sale on a simple reassignment. It generates you, $10,000 minus the commissions. Minus the overhead. So then you're talking. Let's just go all out. Let's say $3,500, which is impossible. So now you have $6,500 that in pure profit. That's the work you've done. So you're like, Alan, I'm going to do all this work for $6,500. And that might not be a lot to you, but to some people it's a lot. And that's not where it stops either. So this is a start. So you spend, worst case scenario, $3,500, which is impossible. But I'm gonna just put that out there. 35%. But that generates you one property. But let's say you say, I want to take over. I see a niche here. And I want to capitalize on this niche. So what if I were to advertise and replicate the same campaigns into another zip code, into another neighborhood, into another subdivision? So wait a minute, I could take 3,500 times 2, 7,000 now, and now that generates me 20 grand. So it's what is that? 7 minus $13,000 in profit. Well, what if I want to do that? I do that on month 2. Then I do. You know what? I've done that. I've seen success in this. I'm going to go ahead and expand out to another area code. So now we're doing 3. So now we're at 3,500 times 3, 369, 10,500. Let's just call it 10,005. 10,000 even. That's $30,000 in profit. So you're at $20,000. And minus the overhead of 10, we're just gonna make it an easy 10. So it makes you $20,000 in pure profit. It's just no brainer, really. Yes, you're gonna have to do a little bit of work, and if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, And yeah, you're gonna need a little bit of money, but if you want to get started for next to nothing, then I would say take this course or take a course similar to it. Just make sure that they are, they're trained and they know what they're doing. They don't want somebody blind leading the blind. You want to make sure your contract is well written and that you have loopholes already ready to go to get outside the contract in case it goes south. And then I'll go ahead and start off with just some wait, I shouldn't say that. Well, those signs that you can handwrite them down. I'm not saying to do it, but you can handwrite those signs and then put them out in neighborhoods and go pick them up again. When remember, I have a license. I can't tell you to do anything. That's kind of, but that, that's follow all guidelines and rules and regulations. But that's something that you may want to do. Talking about wholesale real estate. Okay, how do I get into wholesaling real estate? Okay, so my ex-girlfriend's brother was a big wholesaler. That's all he did, even though he had a real estate license. So he kind of got me into it, got me interested. I bought, I bought a property very cheap, but in a scenario where the person had died and the house was passed down. I bought it for $60,000, and I think I put another 60 or 70 in it. So I was like at 130 and sold it for nearly 200,000. That was one. And then I wouldn't necessarily call the other one I did in River Oaks a wholesale real estate deal, because I was just putting I got it very, very cheap just in negotiations during the recession. During 2008, for those that don't know, the housing market just simply crashed, and I didn't know really about wholesaling, but I knew about fixing and flipping, and I knew the opportunity was there. but I didn't know necessarily how I was going to get the money. It's just the fact that I was determined to do it. I was like, I knew that the recession had me by the short and curlies, and I was doing everything I had to do to make money. I mean, I had a girlfriend at the time, Melissa, and I was, I'm a man, so I wanted to put food on the table and put our, make sure that we're taken care of, and it was a hard time for me. It was hard. The banks were not lending, and before the recession, pre-recession, it was great because we were selling so many houses. It was ridiculous because they were doing a credit background check. They were just kind of like, okay, he has good credit, let him buy a house. But anyways, getting back to the River Oaks condo, I got it such a good deal. I think I got it for 130,000, sold it for 200,000, and I think I put 20 in it. It was a very easy rehab, and that's where I like to start and train people on fixing and flipping. I have another course here. I will put that in the comments. It's a fix and flip course. Is that when you start fixing and flipping properties, just start out simple with paint, granite, hardwood floors, nothing custom. Nothing custom. In fact, your best friend will be the name, or will be the words prefabricated. We do not want to do anything custom in that house. Secondly, we don't want to do anything that's gonna make it how can I say this? You want to review the comps in the area that have sold, and then you want to do the same kind of thing in general. So for instance, you see things trending, gray walls, light gray walls, white cabinets, white counters. Do that. Don't go in there and put some marble and have a carpenter go in there and you're going to spend him so much money. No, just give them the bare basics. This is not your home. You're not going to live in it. You'll never see this house again. This is not pride and joy. What I mean is that, no, I don't want you to be like, oh, I have to do the best job ever. No. You need to give them a good product. You need to give them so that you can think profits. Don't think, oh, I'm going to do the best, and I don't care how much it costs. It's okay. No, hell no. This is a business. So, like you want to, I'll get the best wood floors. No, we don't. If that's the kind of audience that we're looking at, if this is in the, if this is in that price point, okay. But if it's not, we're going to look at our comparables that have sold and give them the same thing, right at it, or just as good, or a little bit below. Because we have to think profits. Because you're gonna come across stuff during the fix and flipping is where you're gonna be needing that cushion. And I like to have a 10% cushion because there's gonna be shit that comes up. I had one time, you're not gonna believe this, in the Heights, 827 West 19th Street. This hurt me. This hit me in the gut. This hit me in the gut right here. What I'm about to tell you. I was already finished. I did the framing. I wrapped the house. Wrapping means like the sheetrock and all that good stuff. The inside outside was done. I mean, it was basically a new house, but we kept the same frame. If that makes sense. So of course, when we removed the hardy plank, the outside hardy, we had to take down the electrical box. And plus, I redid all the electrical anyways. So the electrical boxes, we put it back, a brand new electrical box in the same place. In the same place. We put the electrical box in the same place it was before for 50 years. This house was built in not even 1910, I think. So it's been there almost 100 years. And so I called HLMP out, no big deal. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll be out there to hook up your new electrical box. I was like, okay, cool. Guy comes out. It's like about 8 at night. He measures it. He measures it from the box all the way to the pole. He goes, sir, hate to tell you this, but I can't put your electricity in. I'm like, why? He goes, well, I said, here goes my permits. Everything's done. Oh, well, your pole is 10 feet too far. So you can't be this far away from the pole. So I had to put a new electrical pole. And they're like, well, they're saying, was this my fault? I mean, this is This is crazy. They're like, no, well, you can wait for HLMP to do it, but it'll be like 3 or 4 months. And I'm like, I got to sell this house. It was $1 million house almost, or a $1 million loan, should I say? So I was like, nope. So I ended up putting a new electrical pole in there, having it rush put in. I think it cost me $3,000 right off the back, having a pole put in, installed, cemented, all that good stuff, wired, and yeah. So what I'm trying to get to you is that you have to have the cushion in order for BS to pop up in your life, and it's going to pop up. And you can mark my words on that. So even if you're fixing and flipping properties without me, remember to have yourself a 10-20% cushion for BS that comes up. Oh man, talk about a pain in the butt. Or sometimes contractors, will take off with some of your money. Sometimes contractors will do bad business, and then you have to redo a part. I've had to do floors over 3 times before because they're unlevel. And people in the Heights, they're like, no, they're not going to buy this house if the house is unleveled. The house wasn't unleveled. It was the way the floors were put in that they feel unleveled. So when you put flooring in, you got to put a lot of level and make sure that it's right. And that leveling costs money. So he was trying to get away by saving. He was trying to save money by not having that level, because it's like $20 or $30 a bag. And if you need 40 bags, he underquoted. So it was a big poop stain. Oh shit. Real estate is a trip. Contractors, and they're not all bad, but I could say that it is criminal almost. You gotta babysit these guys, unfortunately, in the contract business. But getting back to fixing and flipping, we're talking about what is wholesaling real estate. How do we find funds to get these deals done? And you're gonna have to use creative financing if you don't have good credit or a big down payment, or you're gonna have to make sure that you go with the private lender that really doesn't care about you, but it just cares about the asset, which calls asset-based lending. They really don't care about you. They're like, okay, fine, this house is worth $100,000 and I got it for $50,000. They're like begging you to walk away because they know for a fact that they can get the property. Yeah, you're gonna pay a little bit more interest, but don't worry about that because you're only gonna have the payment for a little while. This is not a 30-year note. You're gonna have like a 1 or 2 year note. Sometimes you'll even have 3 or 6 month note if you decide to buy the property and you have to hold it and fix and flip. Yeah, you're fixing and flipping, you can hold. But a reassignment, wholesaling real estate, you don't necessarily need to own the property. Basically, you're gonna tie it under contract and reassign it, so you have the rights to that property. But it has to be written correctly so that they can't get out. Because once they find out that you got a deal, and somebody say, hey, somebody's gonna offer them more. Like, oh my God, I didn't know you sold this house. A neighbor might come across. You sold this house for $100,000 or $50,000. It's worth 100 and something. They're gonna be like, get out of that contract. So you're gonna have to make sure that that contract's written in stone. And so that's one thing that's why it's so valuable is this course that I'm offering. Just the contract alone is good. The contract alone is worth the $200. So, anywho, let me make sure this thing is working again. Let me see here. Yeah, appears to be, huh? It's worth 100 and something. Okay, yeah, it is. Okay, so wholesaling real estate, we're going to be reassigning the rights to a contract for the property. And basically, just like I said before, is that you just going to have to disclose, hey, I have the right to reassign this property or reassign the buyer's name to another entity or like an LLC or another person. And then you're going to have to put those loopholes in. And I like to use loopholes that are like, something to do with the title, the Schedule C, Schedule A, Schedule B, something to do with the inspections, have something to do with times that I didn't receive documents in time, like seller's disclosure. You want to put in as many loopholes as possible so that you can back out without losing a lot of money. It's so important. Wholesaling real estate, it can be extremely profitable. One of the best wholesale deals I've ever had was I made $130,000. I didn't even own the property. It was a total reassignment. It was a piece of land in the Montrose area. I've got it. It was 18,000 square feet continuous land. Got it for sale for $1.7 million. And I knew that it sold for like $100 plus a foot. This was a few years ago. And I was like, well, 18,000, it's $1.8 million. and plus it's continuous. So immediately I sold it. I got it under contract for 1.7. Within 2 days, I sold it for 1.8 million, 1.83 for $130,000 in pure profit. So yeah, that was a good deal. I remember. So I bought a property. I remember with that $130,000, and then I sold that for $200,000. So yeah, it's a lot of money in wholesaling real estate, and maybe it's not as much as 130,000. You're not going to get that much all the time, but they do come along, and a lot of people they put a standard up where they want to make 50,000 all the time. They always want to make 50, but I always say, just get the 10,000 and get that 10,000 and move on. I think one thing that's beneficial is, of course, you'll need MLS access, or if you're a realtor, you don't have to be a realtor to do wholesaling at all. In fact, you don't even need a real estate license to do wholesaling real estate. I prefer you don't even have one, actually, because as a realtor, we have to put the client first, in which they call fiduciary responsibility, in which they are a client, not a buyer. But if you have no license, you have no laws that you have to abide by. That's so true. So yeah, I've had a lot of realtors do so well wholesaling. I train them. They do so well that they let their license go because they don't want to get in trouble with the real estate commission. But I mean, you can have a license and you just have to disclose it and just dot your I's and cross your T's. If you do hold your real estate license, it's not going to be the end of the world. You just have to be really careful with your paperwork. One thing that is essential in wholesaling is MLS access. Now, MLS access is not that hard to obtain. I can't tell you some things to do. I don't recommend you doing these because, remember, I have a broker's license and I can't say for you to do things, But one thing that I've heard people doing is, giving a couple $100 to a realtor to get MLS access, and then they get the MLS access, and that gives them access to the history of like an area. So for instance, you find a property in 77008 in Timber Grove. It has a 8,000 square foot. It's to 1,200 square feet. So you want to start looking for comps that have sold recently in the last 6 months, 180 days, to make sure that you're getting a good deal on the property. So yeah, it would be valuable to have MLS access. So for those that don't know what MLS is, it's multiple listing service. This is what realtors, when they have your property for sale, that's where they'll list it. Now, when it gets listed, it goes on to Zillow, and it goes on to Trulia, it goes on to Homes.com. It's syndicated, but it all starts at the MLS. That's what a lot of people don't understand, is that it all starts with the MLS because those realtors are putting it in, but they like Zillow and Trulia and Homes.com. They pay for syndication for that data. Then they manipulate the data, and unfortunately, they'll sell those leads back to other realtors, which is hysterical to me. It's quite hysterical if you think about it. But wholesaling real estate can be extremely profitable. In essence, I highly recommend it. You can make a good amount of money. We did the math already. We talked about, it's about $3,500 max you'll spend on on a monthly basis, which should generate you $10,000 minimum. So it gives you $6,500 in profit. Then you start scaling that out. Start seeing a niche. You start scaling that out where you start, 2 or 3 or 4 neighborhoods. You start saying, okay, I'm going to start doing this and scaling and making that amount of money. Then it can lead, of course, into fixing and flipping. And that's another course that I offer that could help you get, help you avoid the pitfalls that I ran across when fixing and flipping properties, new construction, all kinds of crap. That one is just like worth its weight in gold because it's all the experience that I had, building houses. So yeah, I hope you like this, this video, and if you found it valuable, I appreciate if you give it a thumbs up. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.